Monarch is building the future for those interested in one wallet that consolidates the best services and functionality into one simple and easy-to-use app. Monarch will empower users to control all aspects of their financial kingdom from the palm of their hand. You may have heard the phrase, not your keys, not your crypto. With Monarch, you own your keys and seed, meaning you own your crypto. With Monarch, you can store, receive, send, swap, buy, sell, and earn interest on your crypto, track your portfolio, the news, the market cap, and more today. We're constantly adding new services and updates too. Learn more today by visiting monarchtoken.io or download the wallet for free today from Apple or Google.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Beards and Bitcoins. It is a crypto podcast for the man's man and absolutely the ladies that love him. I'm your co-host Jay Chains. I am joined by my co-host BitBoy. How you doing today, my man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm actually going to Canada tomorrow.
Canada?
Oh, is that how you say it? Yes. Canada. I haven't been to Canada since I was a small child.
I was there a couple years ago. I went with my uncles and some cousins, and we did a one of those fishing trips. Shore lunch is probably one of the best things I've ever had. I also gained like 20 pounds in a week, but I'm on keto right now, so I can't eat any. Well, I could eat some fish maybe, but I'm not
gonna eat fish if it's not fried.
It's fried fish. It's like fried in oil on the right there on the side of the road.
Is it breaded at all? I don't think I can eat fried fish. I'm pretty sure on keto.
Probably not.
No, I guess I could. I guess I probably could. I'll have to check it out when I go up. I'm just going to Toronto, so I don't know if if there's a lot of big fishing in Toronto, because I don't think it's on the coast. I could be wrong.
I don't think it's in that part of town.
I don't think so. Well, I bring it up because I'm going to Canada. It's my first international trip with my new passport that I got that had been expired for a long time. I've been out of the country since 2010, which was that's not true. No, I went to Honduras in 2016, I think. So that's right. I did go into Honduras for a little mission trip action. Went hiking the mountains, helping people out.
That's good for you. But Honduras is a cool place. I've been there. Yeah. So, but we're taking it international because today we're going to be taking it international on this podcast. We're going to be talking with Quinn from Mid-Earth Crypto. You guys can find his YouTube channel, Mid-Earth Crypto. You can find him on Twitter at Mid-Earth Crypto. And man, this was a fascinating conversation we had. Oh man, absolutely. Learned a little bit about some international stuff. Obviously, one of the pressing issues that's going on all over the world right now is Hong Kong. So we got to talk about that, which is great. Kind of learn a little bit more in depth from him on some of the things that is happening in his home, or where he has a home in Ecuador.
And we'll see a tie-in between what's happening in Ecuador, what's been happening in the rest of South America, and then even what's happening in Hong Kong and China. So definitely very interesting. You guys are going to learn a lot. This is what we're fighting against in cryptocurrency. We're fighting against the centralization of currency, the centralization of, a power like China, communism, that basically tries to control people. Cryptocurrency is meant to free people. So that's really the tie into this whole episode. So hope you guys enjoy this one. Let's get started.
All right, here we go with Mid-Earth Crypto.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Beards and Bitcoins podcast, the crypto podcast for the man's man and the women who love them. I'm here with my co-host Jay Chains. What is going on, Chains?
What is up, homie? Man, beautiful day in the life.
Oh yeah. Beautiful day. And we're also joined by one of my other buddies, Quinn from Mid-Earth Crypto. We've been doing a bunch of adoption videos lately. We've got some big stuff planned we're going to tell you guys about today. But Quinn, what's going on?
What's going on, man? Appreciate you guys having me on the podcast. I fill in with a beard. I cut it off a couple weeks ago, but it's kind of just now got to where it's going.
Oh, it works. It works, man. It works. Good to see you.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me.
Good to see you. Last time I saw you was in San Fran for Bitcoin 2019.
Yeah. You guys were doing the Pomp interview that day. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Crypto Bit Bus.
You're in Houston though, right?
Austin.
Okay.
Texas.
Cool. Very nice. What's your next conference schedule looking like?
Ooh, I think Vegas.
That's it.
Yeah. If things work out, yeah.
Okay.
Are you gonna sleep on our floor?
Am I gonna be Armando?
Yes.
I mean, hey, I'm just saying. Me and Quinn got a room.
Nice.
I mean, if you want to hit it up, we got some floor space for you, bud.
Cool.
That's a double queen in there. We just push those bad boys together.
Oh,
yeah.
That's the Scarface King is what they call that, okay?
Perfect.
That's a real California style king right there.
Ooh.
Okay. Oh, Burn City. We got some announcements we want to make for our listeners. What's your announcement, Quinn?
My announcement is actually kind of pertains to Justin's son. I will be with Tron on Monday. We're going to be at USC doing a DAP presentation. The same thing we did in Atlanta before, but for the college blockchain group there. And so I'll be flying out to LA actually early just to do that. And if anybody's in the area, please come out. It's free food, free drinks, and 30 minutes of me talking about Tron DApps. So
what are your favorite or recommended Tron DApps?
Excited about the sports book coming out on Topia. So Topia has a good sports book that has a line that's better than any of the other books I've seen out there so far, just like 3, 4, 5% sometimes. So I'm excited about that. And, the divs on TronBet on Wink, on Dice from Wink have been big. That's been paying bills. So Wink. I don't hate on that. Yeah.
For you that are listening, you couldn't see my wink, but now I will allow you to visualize it. That's awesome. Yeah. So I'll be out there in LA next week as well. But by the time everybody's listening to this, it's going to be Thursday. So I'm in LA right now as you're listening to this podcast. But we got some more announcements for you guys. We have a new 21 best practices for Bitcoin list for the podcast here.
Yep.
And you guys are going to be able to get access to that. All you got to do is go to beardsandbitcoins.com and just sign up. Put your email in, and we will send that to you. And then we got some more exciting stuff coming out. We got some videos for the podcast we're going to be doing based on those practices. Isn't that right, Jay Chains?
That is right. That is right. And not only is it for people new to the space, we'll have some advanced modules. We'll have some beginner modules. Like it'll be beneficial to everybody. So it makes getting into crypto, it makes navigating your crypto kingdom a little bit easier. That's the plan.
Yeah. So head on over to beardsandbitcoins.com and make sure you guys sign up for that. So Quinn and I also have an announcement. This is like the city. Tron announcement spectacular episode. We are starting a tour where we're going to be going around to all kinds of different colleges across the United States. Tron is playing a big hand in sponsoring a lot of those. Who knows, maybe even all of them. But we have a name for it. You want to give them the name, Quinn?
Yeah. Okay. So we came up with a name together. I think it was in a conversation on the phone, but I said, I I want to decentralize America. And then you said, well, it's the Decentralized America Tour. And
that is hot.
Yeah.
So when we were just in the conversation, and if any of you snakes out there are trying to go steal our domain, it was free already. We got it. Okay.
Well, it wasn't free. I did have to pay $13.99 for it.
It was available.
That's right. So you guys can check out decentralizedamerica.com. Maybe by the time this airs, I might have something up for it at least. Maybe some information, maybe a coming soon page. But yeah, decentralizedamerica.com is going to be the name of our tour. We're going to be going on over the next year. And ultimately, we're hoping to eventually start our own crypto conference for it, the Decentralized America Conference. So, because that's what we're really passionate about is decentralization. I mean, this for us isn't about like getting in on low coins and, having a moon and things like that. It is really an idea. It's a movement. And I feel like really all three of us, we're all passionate about decentralization. I think that's really important.
Can I make an announcement really quick?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, ladies and gentlemen, Jay Chains.
Here's my announcement. If you guys decide to pick Austin, Texas as one of your locations.
It is for sure.
Oh, well, guess what? You guys can stay at my house. The party will be there.
Yeah.
The meetup will be there.
Ooh, I don't know if my wife is good with me staying at your house.
Is he really not?
Well, Ben fell in love with my dog. Well, my dog fell in love with Ben.
That's right. She actually held my hand. I've never had a dog hold my hand before.
She was,
and she literally was like,
for Ben.
Hold my paw. And she would just stare at me until I would grab it, and I would just grab her paw, and she would just relax, So I'm kind of in love with the dog. I mean, she's really sweet. Fia is her name.
Maybe by the time the video airs, we can get up a list of future cities. I know we've got 3 so far scheduled, the USC, Georgia State University, and then Orlando. Orlando will be on number 6, but the other ones we can put some dates on to get, an idea.
Yeah.
Definitely if Austin has a blockchain school or a university with a presence, then on the list.
I think Austin has a school there.
Yeah. It's a.
They're not that important, though, right? I mean,
they're not that big.
And Jay Chain's got some pull over there, I think, right?
Oh, does he?
We'll see.
And Austin has a huge blockchain community as well. So I mean, a lot of big Bitcoin maximalists are from there. Jimmy Song is from there.
Decred's here, so I think
Decred is there.
So Marco lives here. There's a bunch of big people here. I don't want to name drop,
Oh,
You don't have
clout
to. I
chasing.
know what you're saying. Well, while we're talking about the Decentralized America Tour, and we're definitely coming to hang out with Jay Chains in Austin, let's talk about really outside of the America.
Outside of America, a little south down to America.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk about what's going on in the world, because there's a lot of moving pieces going on right now. That's something we really like to talk about on the podcast here, things that are going on in the world that affect pretty much everybody, that maybe everybody can't see the chess moves that are being made. So Quinn has a lot of experience. He lived in Ecuador for a long time. I still currently is a citizen there, right?
Permanent resident. Yeah, I could get my citizenship, but we've just been here for 6 months. We're normally there. And normally everything's kind of pretty calm and tranquil. But recently, a change in government through a democratic process, he was elected and voted in. But this president has turned out to not be the puppet that the former president wanted him to be, and has since cuddled up next to a kind of American values almost. One of the things that you can really look to being a huge marker for that change was the Julian Assange case. People don't really think about like why was he released from the Ecuadorian consulate after all those years? Well, it's because Lenin Moreno let him go, and he did that as a favor to the U.S. They indebted themselves heavily to China, right? So the former president was Correa, Rafael Correa. He went to University of North Carolina, actually. And a real smart dude, very, very he knows how to speak to his people, right? He knows what words to say. He knows how to talk to them and get them. He's got a really strong base in that country. And so even though he's expatriated in Belgium right now, he still has a very strong presence and control grip in the country. Word is that 2 weeks ago, he went to Venezuela and made a deal with that sitting president, Nicolas Maduro, to have Venezuelan migrants.
Nice pronunciation.
You like that right there, yeah?
I do.
To have those, because there's a lot of migrants that are coming into Ecuador right now from Venezuela. And what he's done is he's sent basically gangs of Venezuelans to wreak havoc during these protests. And so it's this real weird thing that's going on right now, because the government's asking for help from the U.S. that might, send down the Coast Guard or National Guard, not Coast Guard.
Ecuador does have a coast. The Galapagos Islands are there.
They do. Well, that's another crazy thing. So
that's where the turtle is, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that where evolution started? No.
I like turtles.
Yes, Darwinism, absolutely. The idea that, so here's the thing. That's one of the most protected regions in the entire world, right? You have endangered species. And 2 years ago, there were 14 huge Chinese trawlers out there just getting everything out of the water. Just all kinds of really, really rare sharks and stuff. The Ecuadorian Coast Guard caught one of them. And this is what started that whole thing. This new president's regime is not friendly with the Chinese government. And instead of, kind of going along, he puts them in prison and impounds a boat, does all this stuff. Well, they get away. They go into Peruvian waters and raise a Russian flag. They switched their Chinese flags out, raised Russian flags, and went into Peruvian waters so that they had treaty arrangements within those countries. So that started off the confrontation that's now led to this march on the capital. 2 days ago, the indigenous population marched in the capital city in Quito and forced the president there to evacuate. And now they're in a compound in Guayaquil held up. He moved the entire government there. And it's kind of gotten worse. It's not gotten better. Right now, they're protesting today. And one of the pictures that my friend took, Lindsay, she's there on the ground, lives in the city. She has a really awesome, powerful photography going on where it's like she'll get these images of guys masked up with Molotov cocktails in the back of their hands, or they have really advanced anti-riot gear for, a third world country. It's definitely something that you can see that America has helped out with. They have these huge militarized vehicles with the non-lethal, weapons like the sound weapons and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I had heard that there was a park, maybe somewhere in like South Florida, that was having a really tough time with homeless people. And so what they did was they played on the amphitheater speakers, Baby Shark 24 hours a day on repeat, and it ended up clearing out. So sound amplification is a great way to get what you want.
Great way to just clear them out, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, I went to we're really getting off topic, but I went to a gas station on my way to Disney World last week. And we stopped in the gas station, and every
Question really
time,
quick. Yes. Did you get beef jerky?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Just
gas station. Yeah, it's gas station.
Of course I got beef jerky. You gotta be kidding me. What else would I do? I actually got some Nacho Slim Jims at this one. I love Nacho Slim Jims. They're nachos. They're mine. So, but I went in this gas station, and every single time someone opened the door, it had the loudest ring. It was like the door would open and go, and I was like, oh my gosh, it was driving me insane. I literally had to leave the store. I told my wife, we were there, like our kids had to go to the bathroom. I said, you're going to have to pay for this. I cannot take this. It probably went off like 20 times in a minute. And I thought to myself, how in the world could a person work here? And she said, they probably get used to it. And I'm like, no, you will never get used to that.
That's like the people say you get used to living next to a train track. You don't, because they blow that horn. It's not like you just don't hear that.
Well, we live close to a train track, but it's far enough away. It's probably like about a quarter mile from my house. It's far enough away where it's not super, super loud and we don't rumble, but it's kind of cool in the middle of the night. You know, you hear, it's just quiet enough where it's kind of soothing, Yeah.
That little white noise.
Great distance, though. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're at the right distance. If we were really close to that thing, man, we'd never sleep. So okay. Back to talking about what's going on in Ecuador. So how do you think? Well, what kind of similarities? Yeah. Well, what kind of similarities do you see with what's happening in Ecuador? I guess first let's tackle South America. Like what's happening in Ecuador, what's happening in Venezuela, what's happening in Argentina, and I think, like you've mentioned, you think Brazil is next.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of little mini chess pieces that are kind of getting moved around the board right now, and how it plays into the bigger geopolitical role, right? So I think the big thing is basically China, Russia, America, EU, and those are the four major superpowers. I grouped the EU into one just because that's the reality of the situation. We've been fighting this big giant bear of Russia for the last, mentally, for the last 20 years, and nobody's really acknowledged this sleeping assassin that's been China. Now you kind of see these alarm bells going off, but the reality is that they've been in South America for 20 years, pumping money in large amount, huge cash injections for infrastructure projects to build roads, bridges, parks, provide money for all, just lots and lots of money. And it came at a price. These countries are now fully indebted to China. So when they have requests or come beckoning and calling, it's at our expense. And so we're down there spending money. That's why Ecuador has the dollar. That's why, Honduras has the dollar. That's why Brazil's got so many subsidies. That's why we invest so much money down there. It's not really necessarily because we need it, which we do. We need the resources, but we could live if we didn't have them. We want to make sure that China and Russia don't get their foothold and, kind of creep up our backs basically and get close enough to hurt us. So in Hong Kong right now, you see live ammunition just was used for the first time ever during the protest. Somebody was shot. That information's not out there really. It's not, you can't really find it right. And if you look on BBC, it says an eye injury. It doesn't say that he was shot in the eye now. And I'm like, well, why do they change that? Like it's control. It's state media controlling the narrative. And so the rush of HK dollars from where they are into Bitcoin is only evident of what's actually happening. You can see the mistrust, and I don't know where they're going. I'm sure that people are flooding out of HKD into US dollars, into euro as well. But the buy volume from $2 million has gone up to $12 million on the last day from Hong Kong and local purchases for Bitcoins. And so that's indicative of people's trust in the local government not holding. If they don't trust the currency, they don't trust obviously they don't trust the power structure, because I also showed you that other manifesto, the Hong Kong manifesto that was released. It's like they've literally kind of pushing for a whole government changeover. And why is that important? Okay, so Hong Kong was a British colony, right? It's not actually Chinese. It is Chinese because in 1997, UK gave it back to China through the first ever sovereign, transfer.
No, are you sure they transferred it? Like Hong Kong is not China.
The way the treaty set up so that, it's not mainland. No, it's not. It's completely geographically it's separate, but politically and like legally, it's China. And in 2047,
they hate that though. The citizens there hate that.
Well, so here's what it is. It's weird, man. Like I don't know because I'm obviously not a Hong Kong citizen, but think about it from your and my perspective. This Hong Kong people grew up with independent thinking, with free internet, with uncensored state media, with real interactions, with a robust economy. Okay, they didn't have the poverty that mainlanders did, and it was through British rule. So you had all those kind of European influences there. So is it Chinese culture? Sure, it's Chinese culture, but those people I don't think feel very Chinese.
No, not at all.
That was in 97, and in 97, the British literally gave it back to the Chinese government. And what happened? Hong Kong was a real functioning independent state, okay, like a nation pretty much. banks that were official, a currency that was official, and pegged to the US dollar, which is the most important factor of this whole equation. Wow. Hong Kong HK dollars are pegged to US dollars. Chinese yuan are not. And Chinese yuan to HK dollars, that ratio, we don't control that. We have nothing to do with that. That's done over there. So all that China had to do was get their roots, get their needles in there, get them deep enough in to where, and they are now. Now they funneled and control. That is their biggest money laundering arm for the entire government of China is Hong Kong. And if they lose that right now, it is going to be a big problem because they won't be able to hide this huge balloon that they've blown up, which is their economy. And it's not built on anything. It's just air and it's waiting to pop, right? And all that's going to happen is for Hong Kong to slip. And here's what I think is happening, right? So in 1997, British gave it back, right? And that's for 50 years. And that 50-year time frame, the independent ways of governance stayed the same. So the legal system stayed the same, the financial system stayed the same, the military system stayed the same in Hong Kong. But in 2047, those expire. Those stipulations expire, and it goes back into Chinese rule completely. It's Chinese rule then, which means mainland laws, extradition, banks, consequences, right?
If you're in Hong Kong, you might want to think about getting out before that happens for sure.
Well, I'm sure there's a way to stop it.
Or revolt. I mean, legally,
here's the thing. I'm going to tell you what I think is going to happen. I think this is going to turn into a war. I mean, I think this is going to turn into other countries getting involved because China is not going to allow Hong Kong to be independent. I mean, they're not good. They can't because if they do, like you said, that bubble is going to pop. And I feel like what we're seeing right now with the protests, this is just the beginning of what I think is going to happen because of this global chess match that China is trying to play with all these different countries, with their currency, with the US dollar, and what it would mean if Hong Kong were to be able to kind of tell them no, then what's going to happen is that's going to show that they're kind of weak. And then their own people are going to start feeling like, well, they didn't put down that revolt. Yep. So you know what? Maybe it's time for us to do something because the people of China, that's something they think about. I can guarantee it. I mean, they live in a nanny state and they know it. So if they get the littlest inkling, I mean, because how many people are in the government there?
That blind loyalty will crack. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. There's more regular citizens there than people in the government.
Billions more. I mean, it's
billions
crazy.
More.
It's crazy.
Yes. When they finally realize that and they see a crack, they're going to go for it, I believe. And I mean, we've already seen like China's like eased up in a lot of different areas over the last 20 years in terms of like allowing Walmart to come over there and having people have flourishing businesses and all kinds of stuff that's a little bit different.
And so it's crazy you mentioned the businesses. Have you seen what's happened in the last 36 hours with the NBA? Two more things that just happened. I can't remember. I'll look them up, but it's basically something about big companies that have stopped doing business with American companies because of posts made by prominent people in the Blizzard pulls Hearthstone esports. Something about esports game.
Wow.
Wow. Strips pro gamer of tournament.
That's huge. It's for nerds, but it's huge.
So yeah, they stripped all of his earnings away, this professional gamer, for supporting the Hong Kong protests. Wow. And so like I know that's kind of dumb, right? That's like that's the first step. But if they're doing that, they have banned the Houston Rockets from they will not play the Houston Rockets games anywhere on any Chinese games with a $1.5 billion deal that they just did with the NBA that will now be in jeopardy, because this Houston Rockets owner put up a piece for Hong Kong. I mean, it was nothing. It was just like a little stand with Hong Kong, peace for Hong Kong kind of thing. China don't play that shit. They don't like that, okay? They crack that whip.
This thing's getting big. This thing, we are just at the beginning. All of this kind of basically, I won't say it started, but it really kicked off with, Trump putting sanctions on China and things like that. But this feud with China and really kind of really feud with China, Russia, and the rest of the world. I mean, I feel like this is just getting started right now. And
I think we're in the middle of it. I think we are one of the chess pieces in this geopolitical game because, I mean, it can only be proven with our Warren Buffett situation. We went out there, we expected this to happen. And because mainland didn't appreciate the Trump invitation, they cracked that whip.
100%.
And changed everything. I mean, yeah.
And by the way, that was speculation at some point. But I've gotten some confirmation that is true. That is what happened. 100%.
Oh yeah.
I remember when we said that night, we were just talking about it. Like, what if this is like, could this be? And then It's exciting. It's a little nerve wracking. I mean, I'd like to see Hong Kong rise up and really stick it to the man. I don't think that's going to happen on their own. I mean, there's reports of huge mass formations on the Shenzhen province, of huge like military formations. And so if they are willing to use lethal force, which they already shot somebody, if they aren't going to back down the tone, because obviously doing like military formations is aggressing things, you know, I could see it getting worse before it gets better. And the same thing for Ecuador. I mean, I've told my friends, like, it's bad in Ecuador right now. All the stores are empty. There's mass, looting going on. There's straight delinquencia. It's like just bands running around, opening up the shops and going in and taking out everything. And so,
God, we live such a bubble here.
Such a bubble. Like, could you even imagine? I mean, yeah, that you see that in like dystopian movies or like apocalyptic type stuff. But could you imagine that?
It's crazy because it's really not that far off, man. Like 3 weeks ago, everything was fine. 2 weeks ago, everything was fine in country. And then in a week, the subsidies for gasoline were taken away, and for like cooking gas, gas to heat your house with, those subsidies were taken away, and this entire nation has erupted. And probably, it's like I said, it'll probably get worse because there's not a solution. There's no way. The president isn't doing anything bad. He's just saying, like, look, we can't afford for these subsidies anymore. We're going to go broke. What do you want us to do? And the people just want a conflict almost. It's like they're bored.
Yeah, I mean, when stuff really starts going downhill, it's incredible how fast things can dissolve. I think in America, we really take that for granted because, it seems so unrealistic that it could happen here. But, I watched a documentary one time that said, if we got hit with a, what's the thing that hits the power grid?
EMP.
An EMP. I kept wanting to say an EMA. I've been doing too many TA videos. Is it an EMP, if it were to hit the power grid and knock out all the power in the United States, this documentary said 90% of America would be dead in 6 months.
6 months. I believe it, man. I mean, I really do.
Because there wouldn't be enough resources for everybody to continue.
No power. I mean, dude, I really love The Walking Dead. That is my jam. I love The Walking Dead. Now, who knows? There might be some kind of crazy thing that could cause zombies. I mean, they've actually, I know it sounds unrealistic, but they have found animals such as ants that do have a form of what we would consider like a zombie-like virus, right? But that's like a 0.000000001 chance. But the apocalyptic nature, that can never happen. I'm just going to say it can never happen. There's no such thing as zombies. This is 0% chance.
Let me ask you a question. You get yourself to a position where there is no electricity. You can't watch your phone. That means no more TikTok videos. What do you? What do you do to ensure that you can charge your phone enough to see TikTok videos? Because there'll be other degenerates.
I'm going to have to sacrifice people. I mean, there's no other way around it. I mean, if somebody's got to eat, or I have to watch TikTok videos, I am watching freaking TikTok videos. They're going to go hungry. You know what I'm saying? And you know what? Maybe watching them die, I know it sounds morbid, but it might make for great TikTok content. But in all seriousness, the apocalyptic nature.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. I told you it was morbid. The apocalyptic nature of The Walking Dead, I think, is very realistic. The way that you can't really pick some things you can pick apart with it. But the fact is, when all is lost and people feel threatened, people do dangerous things. I tell you right now, I will kill for my family in a second.
Of course you would. That's the whole point. If the EMP happens and we don't have food in a month, my baby doesn't have formula, right? I'm getting my baby formula. My kid's gonna eat, and I'll figure it out. The scary thing about this whole situation or hypothetical is in America, everybody's got guns. Here everybody's got guns. I would much rather be in Ecuador when shit kicks off, because I can go up to a freshwater source and fish. And I just got to make sure I got like a bigger stick than they do, like I'm okay.
But also at the same time, like, America is probably the best country to be in for this not to happen.
For it not to happen, it's the best. Once it happens, it's probably one of the worst.
Oh yeah. I have a fallout plan. I'm ready. I got my place I'm going where I know I will be safe. I got the whole thing. My entire family has a plan, extended family, everything. We all have a plan on where we're going, how we're going to get there, where we're meeting. If something ever did happen, we're not doomsday preppers. I don't have doomsday prepper crap. I got a crazy uncle, and he's got it all. Okay, that's all we need to know about.
You just need to have one in the family. That's it.
That's all you need. If you think about it, though, like, I know we're really getting off the rails. But in all seriousness, though, like, an apocalyptic scenario, people don't think about, like, okay, so I live an hour, or let's just say you work an hour away from your family. if you work an hour away from your family and something crazy goes down, like a nuclear bomb goes off or
Everyone's
whatever,
dead.
and like you guys are just on the edge of it,
Better get to it.
you're not gonna be able to get to it because guess what? You're gonna have a cell phone. I think about this a lot. Think about Woodstock. You guys remember that concert, Woodstock?
Yeah.
Somebody used this example a long time ago with me, and it has stuck with me ever since. Imagine if you and two friends went to Woodstock where there were how many 100,000 people?
Sure,
More than
yeah.
maybe I'm wrong. But whatever it was a festival in a field. Imagine if you lost your friend. Like you just lost them. Like you're walking down, there's like a crowd of people, and then you just turn around like, oh, hey.
That's my childhood. You go to the city, and all of a sudden your parents would leave you and you get freaked out. Or did your parents ever leave you really when you were kids and then get halfway home and before they realized they were like, where's Quinn?
No, Quinn, my family loves me.
Oh, well.
Okay. Okay. My family loved me. They wouldn't forget me. Okay. You would never, only if you just happen to be walking the same place they were. Or maybe if you go back to the same place.
No, you always had like meetup plans. You remember your families would have like, okay, if you guys get separated, you meet back here at this point at 3:00. Like,
yeah, that's a good point.
My mom, Jewish mother maybe, but I just remember always having the meetup plan. And then like my dad taught me the maps when I was a kid because that's the one thing, like, how are you going to get there? Oh, if you're separated and yeah, if you know the area, but if you don't know how to get there, get them maps, homie, because like that's the only way we knew how to do it before.
That was the way to do it.
Yeah, you stopped at those rest areas and you'd get out there and you'd look there or you'd see where you are, that was what it was. So
he did it. I am old enough to remember having to navigate across the country with a map. And then we got, what was it? It was the Rand McNally. And then it was, what was the Microsoft Streets and Trips?
Garmin.
It was the Garmin.
TomTom.
TomTom.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's when you were big timing, and then all of a sudden it was in the car.
You were big timing if you had one.
It was in the car all of a sudden.
I had a job where I traveled around like setting up new Home Depots all across the country. And we had one guy that we worked with that had one. And it was like, man, you're like, hey, you mind if I ride with you?
This guy's going to know where he's going.
He's going to know where he's going. Like he was fancy. Like he had it together, So, well, if you are interested in a map to the best practices of Bitcoin, make sure you guys check out beardsandbitcoins.com and you guys can download that for free. Just put your email address. And we can get that to you. Quinn, thank you so much for being on the show. I mean, we're definitely going to have you on probably several times over the next year. I haven't told that to Jay Chains or asked him.
Hey, man, it works for me. I thought that it was great. It was good.
Super great episode today.
Appreciate you having me, Papa Giorgio. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So, well, that is it. You guys can look for our Decentralized America tour coming to a city near you. We'll have more details on that, coming up in the next few weeks. That's all we got for today. Thank you to our show sponsor, monarchtoken.io. We're out.
See ya.
Cool.
You got this shit knocking, bro.